What's up, guys? Mr. Fit to Flourish, and today I'm going to talk about how to draw a volume profile on your charts using TradingView. So drawing a volume profile, a lot of people keep asking me, yo, what is that thing on the side of the chart that's showing the volume? Like, how'd you get that? Like, what's that magic indicator? Like, I'll pay you $100 for it. What is? I'm like, bro, it's free. It's on TradingView, and it's not an indicator. You can find the indicator, but it's actually just a tool that you use on TradingView. So let's get right into it. I'm going to share my screen here. Boom and a badoom. Alrighty. So let's take a look at Apple. I talked about in another video how we took an Apple trade. Apple is still in play, by the way. So if you want to get an Apple, go make a lot of shmoney. Now's the time. Alrighty. So boom and a boom. All right. So how do you draw a volume profile? So volume profile, the way that you draw a volume profile is you go to the tool section here on the left hand side of TradingView. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the fifth option down, and then you go down into volume based tools. You click on anchored volume profile, and the way that most people do it, the smart way to do it, is you go from a swing high to swing low. So swing high to swing low, or swing low to swing high. And what a volume profile is doing is it's capturing how much volume is coming in at each price point. Okay. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look. I'm going to take off the EMAs. I'm also going to take off the volume RSI. So I usually do this from a swing high to swing low. So because what it does is it captures how much volume occurred at each level from this high to this low. So then we can know areas of strong demand and strong resistance, okay, based on the peaks. So what do I mean? We'll see. So we're going to go from here over. So boom. So as you can see here on the right hand side, this is showing us areas where there is a lot of volume. So the biggest peaks are going to show where we have the most volume. All right. And then wherever this white line goes, that's what's called the point of control, which is the area of highest volume. And typically, if we're above the point of control, it acts as support. If we're below, it acts as resistance. Okay, so just keep those things in mind. And then usually it kind of looks like a bell curve, the way that it goes. So for instance, like, okay, the area of the highest volume is going to be here, and then it kind of you kind of get less and less volume. Where are these arrows? I'm trying to find an arrow. Bruh. All right, there we go. So you get less and less volume this way. That kind of looks like a bell curve, and like that way. But you also get these things called volume gaps. Volume gaps. So we can draw this a little bit differently as well. Let's pull this in just a little bit. And I can even do, did I go that far back? I can even go a little bit further back to up here. So we'll just click from this area. All right, perfect. Perfecto. All right. So as you notice on the right hand side, no matter where I put the chart, it's going to show you the volume at each price point. All right. So as you can see, there's a ton of volume here, which is it makes sense, right? Because we consolidated here kind of forever. It looks like there's a lot of price action in this area. And then here, there's not so much price action until we get to this area. We kind of go straight up. And then in this area, you see another node. It's called a volume node, okay? Another volume node. So now the next major area to get above is going to be this level. Once we get above this level, it looks like the next major volume node, not too many major volume nodes. It looks like these are just kind of small peaks. So in theory, Apple should be able to just kind of run up. All right, let's take a look at some other stocks, because right now I'm looking to potentially trade Amazon. So how would I want to draw my volume gap? Well, I want to know from this swing high to this swing low, what is the area of highest volumes? How easy is it going to be to get back to this area up here? Okay, so I'm going to click on the volume node, and I'm going to go from that peak up there, and then we can look on the side, and we can see. So, all right, so our point of control, boom and a boom. All right, so our point of control is pretty much down here at that 200, also another psychological level, 200 psychological level. All right, and then right now it looks like we're getting into what's called a volume gap. What is that? So that's when you have a huge peak. So for instance, this peak here, this big peak here, and that peak is at this 214.30 level. And then above that, it's kind of small peaks, and then not really a major peak again until we get to about 239.86. Okay, so that's what we call a volume gap. I need to find a better example. There's this one is actually, well, that's United Health. It's decent. This one's kind of decent. So big volume here, and then notice there's like very small volume until we get to this big node here. That's called a volume gap. Okay, what does that matter? Well, whenever there's like very little volume in these areas, that means that price can really fly through those areas. You're not going to get stuck consolidating like in these areas where you have big volume nodes. And I can go into more detail about auction market theory, but I think I made a video on that, so I'm not going to. We can go into more detail about how volume works at each price, blah, blah, blah. But this is just basic concepts to understand, like as beginners, or even when you're not a beginner, you can know all the other stuff, but it's not going to help you in trades. Like you can know like, oh, okay, well, for the calculated value or for the perceived value at these levels, when we hit this level, it's actually a Fibonacci. Like you don't need to know that stuff. You just need to know that, okay, big volume, we're going to consolidate a lot. It's going to be support. When we start moving up, big volume node, well, that's going to be an area of resistance. Okay. Or if we're coming down, this is going to be an area of support. But when we're in this little middle area, we can just fly through until we get to that next big volume node. All right. That's all I wanted to talk about when it comes to volume profiles, but basically take it from a swing high to swing low, or a swing low to swing high. And then it'll give you the volume at each price point, and you can kind of guess to see where there's big volume, you're going to consolidate for a long time. So it'll act as support if it's below you, and if it's above you, an area of big volume is going to act as resistance. It's your boy, Mr. Fit to Flourish, and I'm out. Good morning, welcome to the Fit to Flourish podcast. Let's talk wellness, finance, and growth.